All right, everybody, here we are on January the 5th, and I got my calendar a little messed up there earlier. I thought SAGs were like the next thing. I was incorrect. It's actually the Golden Globes hand out their awards here on next Tuesday, on January the 10th. So I look back, I'm like, yeah, I haven't really talked about the Globes except for a couple nods here and there where it's like, hey, they got in or they didn't get in at the Globes, stuff like that. So I'm like, here, while we have some time, let me go ahead and run through the categories here. Again, I don't think I'm going to have time to do another video before the awards are handed out. We'll do a follow-up video when they're over next Tuesday, but I think in between here, I'm like, yeah, let me go ahead and do a video quick. So I'll kind of run down the 14 categories here, talk about likely winners or who I think is going to win, and some possible upsets. Okay, so we're going to start here with the tech categories. Best song is up first, and this one I think is pretty competitive. You've got really, I think, everything except the Pinocchio song I think is in contention here. You've got 3-star performers behind the nominees for Top Gun, Black Panther, and Where the Crawdads Sing. And then you've got Triple R's Naatu Naatu, which some are arguing is going to be potentially a front-runner when we get to the Oscars for Best Original Song. So sometimes the Globes like to kind of go their own way, particularly in this category. Sometimes they like to try to predict what's going to win at the Oscars. So I think in this case, and remember, Triple R has the International Film nomination as well. I don't know if it goes 2 for 2. And personally, I think the emotional tug of the song for Lift Me Up from Black Panther, I think is going to win out in the end, so I'm picking that one to win. But I wouldn't sleep on the Triple R song. That could end up winning here. Moving on to the score category. This one, I feel like The Fabelmans has 5 nominations. I feel like they have to give it something. I don't see it being like The Post, another Spielberg film. That one went 0 for 6 at the Globes. Yeah, so I'm thinking, I think it's just going to be The Fabelmans. It seems like John Williams has kind of been a front-runner from an early stage, or at least projected front-runner. And I don't really, aside from maybe Babylon, I don't really sense a lot of passion behind any of the other films that are on the list here. Not really. Plus, Hildur and Justin Hurwitz have both won more recently than John Williams has, even though John Williams has, let's see, what was his count here? How many Globes? I thought I was going to check this beforehand, but I didn't. He's got, because he's got 5 Oscars, but he has more Globes. I know he has more Globes. 90% sure. I don't know. Where's his... let me see if I can pull up the list here even. There's just so many things, See if I can even find the list here anywhere. Here we go. This should have it. Okay, when we get to the Golden Globes, he's got 4 wins. His last win was for Memoirs of a Geisha, so that's, going back quite a few years now. He did lose for Schindler's List. Who won that year for score? Kitaro for Heaven and Earth. I think we've talked about that before. At least I've looked it up before. But that was the last time he won at the Oscars, and that's almost 30 years ago. So he is the most nominated, definitely composer in Oscar history, and I believe he's the most nominated person in Oscar history, period, if my math and my history doesn't mistake me here. And so, again, we've heard all, on and off for the last year and a half that, after this and Indiana Jones, whatever the subtitle was of this next one, number 5, that he's going to retire. So this could be a last shot to give him a win here at the Globes and get him number 6, or number 5 rather. So I was thinking the Oscars number 6, 5th win at the Globes here. So yeah, that plus the fact that it is a Best Picture nominee, and in the drama race of the contenders here, it's the only one that is a Best Picture nominee here at the Globes. So, I don't know. Babylon, I feel like they've nominated it in quite a few places, but I don't know if that's their movie. It definitely was not my movie, if you saw my last video. Definitely was not. In the foreign language film category, international feature, Triple R and All Quiet on the Western Front seem to be pretty dead heat to me. I'm kind of back and forth on these two. Triple R does have the other nomination in song, so generally speaking, that's a good sign. All Quiet on the Western Front seems to be the general front runner when we get to the Oscars and several of the other award shows for the rest of the year, though. So, do they go? Yeah, it's like, which one do they go with? Then again, if there is some split voting going on here, look out for something like Decision to Leave or Close, maybe to pull off an upset here. So, at the moment, I have All Quiet on the Western Front winning just as kind of the front runner status here, but I might, if I have time, I might switch to Triple R before Tuesday. I'll just kind of, I have to think about that one. Animated feature, I don't have to think about as hard, I don't think. I think it's Pinocchio's to lose. None of the other ones, I think, have generated a ton of heat, and none of the other ones have any other nominations here at the Globes. Moving on to the screenplay category, this one feels pretty dead even between Everything Everywhere All at Once and Banshees of Inisherin. And while I think Everything Everywhere All at Once seems to be having, it's in a good spot here at the Globes where I think it can pull off at least 3 wins, possibly 4. It's got a shot at getting to 4, or maybe even 5. Maybe even 5 out of its 6. I'd say probably the only category right now, I think, for Everything Everywhere All at Once where it doesn't seem like it's like super, super competitive is, and I'm going to maybe end up, shooting myself in the foot here by saying this, but director. Director is like the only category right now where I'm not super confident that Everything Everywhere All at Once has a decent shot to win. It can win for screenplay, and the other categories and stuff, and we'll get to them. But here I feel like Banshees, aside from Colin Farrell, it might get shut out otherwise. So again, kind of like with The Fabelmans, I feel like there's a small shot, because Colin Farrell, I think, does, maybe not large in a way, he's got that category, but he feels pretty good in that category to me. And we'll get to that category here probably in a few minutes. But for this one, if it does end up being Banshee's only shot at a win here at the Globes, I think they give it to him. Plus, I'm reminded of past winners from the Globes coming back to win again in some competitive races, like Quentin Tarantino winning for The Hateful Eight when he was a previous winner, and he also won again here a few years ago for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for screenplay. And McDonagh did pick up a win here 5 years ago for 3 Billboards for screenplay. So I think they go McDonagh here and give him the win. Okay. So moving on to the acting races now. Supporting actress, I am really torn here between Jamie Lee Curtis and Carrie Condon. Jamie Lee has, this is her 8th nomination. That being said, she has won twice before. But that also being said, Carrie Condon is not exactly a household name. This is her first nomination. I don't know how many other chances she's going to have through the rest of her career. I don't know how big she blows up after this. She seems to be in a good spot to be one of the only people to land every award show this year, except if Jamie Lee Curtis or Angela Bassett keep playing, But yeah, I'm. Carrie seems to have that. Plus, she's gotten a few notices here and there at some critics' prizes and stuff. I don't know. I'm just really torn here. At the moment, I have, I had Carrie Condon, but I even with 8 nominations, I don't know if Banshees is going to go over that well. So I have Jamie Lee Curtis winning here, but this is really, really close, and I might just, I might switch on that one and go back to Carrie Condon before the end of it. Moving on to supporting actor, Ke Huy Quan. I think, again, he should win everything, everywhere, all at once. I've made that joke several times now, but I'll keep doing it. I think he's got this one. I think the 2 guys from Banshees cancel each other out. I'm not really sensing a lot of enthusiasm around the other 2, Eddie Redmayne or Brad Pitt, so I think it's Ke Huy Quan. This should be one of the easier wins for Everything Everywhere All at Once on Tuesday. For the lead acting categories, we'll start with the comedy musical races. Lead actress comedy musical. Michelle Yeoh, I think, is, again, like Colin Farrell, an actor, confidently in the lead and probably does win. But I wouldn't totally sleep on Margot Robbie here. Babylon has 4 other nominations, other than maybe Score, or if it really surprises us somewhere else, which I don't think it will. It's probably the best shot for Babylon to win, if it's going to win anything. So, yeah, plus Everything Everywhere All at Once seems, again, in supporting actor at least, seems to have a good shot there. Really good shot there, so it's almost like, it's like, okay, if we really want to spread the wealth around, do we give Babylon something? If they do, it's either here or in Score, I think. I wouldn't sleep on Margot Robbie, though. So I go Michelle Yeoh here, and I think I'm going to keep her, but yeah. And yeah, in lead actor comedy musical, I think Colin Farrell has this one. Glass Onion, while it's doing very, very well with the Netflix figures and stuff, and the Nielsen ratings and all that stuff, I don't know. This doesn't... Because it is the second one, I don't know. The performance doesn't feel as fresh, I think, probably to some voters as the first one did. Because that was really the first time, other than Logan Lucky, where we'd seen Daniel Craig kind of have that more comedic turn. And he's very good here in Glass Onion as well. I mean, he slips right back into the role. And Glass Onion also does have the nomination as well for Best Picture Comedy Musical. And it is true that Colin Farrell has won a Globe before for another Martin McDonagh project, In Bruges. That was quite a number of years ago, though. So I think it's Colin Farrell. But again, it is a two-way race. Colin Farrell, I think, he's ahead, and he's ahead by a little bit of a margin. But sometimes we feel that way, and sometimes it looks like it's in the bag, but it isn't. So we'll see. Okay, we'll move on now to the drama acting categories. Drama actress, I have Cate Blanchett ahead here to win. Keep in mind, this is Cate Blanchett going for her 4th Golden Globe. She's won 3 times previously. But that being said, I think the one that's in second place is Michelle Williams, who would win Globe number 3 if she wins. She's won, actually she just won here a couple years ago for Fosse Verdon. So, yeah. And again, Kate seems to be ahead at the Oscars as well, so this feels like a good precursor win and everything to get her started and everything. So, yeah. And again, I don't really sense way too much enthusiasm for the other 3 ladies in the race here, so I think it is... I'm not going to overthink this one. I'm going to stick with Cate Blanchett. Over on the actor drama side, boy, I am really reminded here, Austin Butler for Elvis is leading a couple of polls right now I've seen. I don't think I'm going to fall for it this time, guys. I feel this is a lot like Timothée Chalamet, the year of Call Me By Your Name, which it seemed like I and several others talked ourselves into saying he was going to win at the Globes, because it was like, oh, when you got to Gary Oldman and his history with the Globes, he had badmouthed them before. He was very politically on the right, and sometimes it seemed like the Globes were very more politically on the left. So there was, all that stuff. And Darkest Hour, unlike Call Me By Your Name, did not have any other nominations. Now, it is true, The Whale has no other nominations. It is true that Elvis, like Call Me By Your Name, is also up for Best Picture. It is also true, though, that Elvis is up for Best Director as well for Baz Luhrmann, which not a ton of us saw coming. So, it's not an exact repeat of what happened that year. But, I don't know, I look at it again, I say, you know what, Gary Oldman was out front virtually from the start that year for Best Actor, and he didn't look back. And the Globes was the first place to anoint him. I feel like Brendan Fraser. I think Brendan wins this one. We'll see. And one other thing though that is worth noting, I'm going to see if the figures are in for today. But again, we've kind of talked on and off through the year here about how. Let's see if the numbers are even in. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're not reporting them right now. I was going to see The Whale. Let's see here. It's box office figures here. But I don't think they've reported them this week for whatever reason. Let's see if I can find them somewhere else here real quick. I was going to say, though, as far as the box office goes, for a lot of these, platform releases and stuff, Tar, that one's looking at like 5.6 million right now. The Fabelmans is taking a lot to get past. It took a lot to get past $10 million for that film, and it's sitting at 12.6 right now. Babylon, which is it's a wide release, but if we comp that one even over a Christmas, right before Christmas release, that one's sitting at 11.7 million. That one is just not doing well. Empire of Light has taken this long to crack 1 million. That one has really struggled. Banshees is only at 9 million. It just seems like these, smaller releases, especially this time, really have struggled. Big struggle bus on those films. The Whale, only being in 623 theaters, if this count is correct, it is at almost 6 million. So it seems like that's a little better than, that's better than Tar through its whole release, and I believe Tar was in more theaters, generally speaking. So, and box office I don't think is everything to the Globes, but just given that The Whale seems to be one of those platform releases that's doing a little better than some of the others, even though, again, this is really not a bright spot at all for the general box office, seems to be a good sign. So, yeah, I know that's not the best defense in the world, but I'm sticking with Brendan Fraser here. In the directing category, it just feels like Spielberg here. Generally, yeah, Spielberg, he hasn't won here in a while. I want to say it was Saving Private Ryan was the last time he won here. Let's see, I'm triple checking in case. I don't think it was Madden that won that year. Yeah, it was Spielberg that won for Saving Private Ryan, but here at the Globes. But yeah, that's coming up on 25 years ago now. So I feel like we're overdue. I feel Spielberg will win this one. So, it could be the only spot for the Fabelmans is score, but I was like, nah, I think director, too, has a good shot. Though, don't forget, James Cameron, he's back in the race this year with Avatar. The first Avatar he did win here at the Globes over the Oscar favorite. For the Danielses, again, I feel like this is the one category where they're in second place, and they're in second place by a good distance. Yeah. And yeah, otherwise, yeah, Lerman and McDonough, I think they're glad to be there, but I don't think necessarily either one of them is really hopeful for a win over the rest of the nominees there. In the top two categories, Best Film, Comedy Musical, again, I feel like Banshees and Everything Everywhere All at Once are the two it comes down to here. And generally speaking, Everything Everywhere All at Once, even though it has fewer nominations, I feel like this is the one they're going to go with. Yeah, and I don't really have way too much more to add to that. It's just, yeah, Banshees, it's a good movie, but it's not Everything Everywhere All at Once, which seems also to have some momentum now in the Oscar race as well after it led nominations at Critics' Choice. So again, if they're trying to predict which one is going to win Best Picture, and they're trying to look good in retrospect by picking, they have two shots to call who's going to win Best Picture, I feel like Banshees is further behind in the Best Picture race than Everything Everywhere All at Once. So that also, I think, was a benefit there. Okay, then in the drama race, generally, I would say we've got a shot here. We've got a shot here at three films winning. The Fabelmans, I have picked here. Again, it could only end up with one win through the night. We'll see. It could pull a Shape of Water where it gets all those nominations, but it only wins director. So score, yes, could go to Babylon, and picture drama could go to, dare I say it, Top Gun Maverick. I think Top Gun I think it's going to be closer than people think. It's in fourth place right now at least a Gold Derby here. I have it in second. I think it's got an actual shot. It's in second place, and I don't think it's like a close second. I think it's a halfway decent second place. Elvis I have in third, and I do have Avatar in fourth. Elvis does have the director nomination, as does Avatar. But I think with Elvis, there is that comp of, okay, could it be Bohemian Rhapsody, where it pulls Best Actor and Best Motion Picture Drama? Maybe. We'll see if history repeats itself. And we'll see about Top Gun, just the popularity of that film, even though it did get passed yesterday, I guess technically, by Avatar at the global box office for the year. That all being said, I feel like Top Gun is going to be a little more in their wheelhouse. Not to say, it's not like the first Top Gun was like, a huge player at the Globes the year it came out. But I don't know. I just feel like it could surprise us and just win. I don't think it wins song on top of it. I think it would only win for drama picture, but yeah. I'm going to go with the safe pick here. I'm going to go with Fabelman. So I have it winning in 3 categories, which was actually the same number that West Side Story won last year, the last Spielberg effort. So we'll see. That might be a little too tightly knit there, but we'll see. Otherwise, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I have winning, 4 categories? Picture, comedy actress, supporting actor, supporting actress. Yeah, so I have it winning 4 right now. Banshees, I have winning a pair, and I think that's it for multiple winners. Yeah, generally here at the Globes, they like to spread their wealth, so we don't see a ton of movies that get like multiple wins. You know, obviously, like we said, La La Land kind of swept everything that year. Last year, yeah, we had the 2 films win 3 Globes each, and those are the only multiple winners that year. So, yeah, just keep all that in mind. Okay, so while we got some time here, let me kind of, maybe not fly through, but I'll certainly go through some updated Oscar predictions as well. And I think for the first time this year, we're going to get all 23 categories in one video. So here we go. We'll start with the shorts here. Live action short. I have Le Pupil, An Irish Goodbye, The Red Suitcase, Warshaw, and Nakum out as the 5 here. And they seem to be consensus picks right now. And I haven't done a lot of homework yet on this category, so I'm not sure what else people are looking at. In Doc Short, I've got The Flag Makers out front. Just looking at the subject matter and stuff for this one, this feels like one that could just, get in, and then people look at, okay, what's it about, and then they just vote for it. Easily could be. Elephant Whisperers in 2nd. How Do You Measure a Year in 3rd. 38 at the Garden in 4th. And Nuisance Bear in 5th. Otherwise, again, outside of maybe like a couple votes for Stranger at the Gate, a couple votes for The Martha Mitchell Effect, a couple votes for Holding Moses, a couple votes for Happiness is £4 million. Yeah, it kind of seems like after like 3 or 4 of them, they're kind of all over the place in that category. In animated short, I kind of cited it early. I was like, the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. It's got all the things that generally they like in these kind of short categories for subject matters. Seems like it's all locked up into one. So yeah, I have that one picked out as the front runner for now. Then New Moon, My Year of Dicks, The Flying Sailor, and The Garbage Man are my 5 picks here. Save Ralph looks like it has a cute bunny in it, so that could very easily sneak in. An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I think I believe it, could also sneak in. And I don't think there's any other animal ones, are there? Not that I'm seeing, at least. So you got to look out for those animal ones. All right, let's move on to the visual effects category. Avatar's out front here. We all know it. So really not too big a surprise there. Otherwise, for the 4 other picks in the category, Top Gun, I think, gets in. Black Panther will get in this time. Doctor Strange, I have getting in. And then All Quiet on the Western Front in 5th place. So I don't have the Batman in. It doesn't, because the Batman, even though it's got a big budget and everything, that one doesn't feel like a big effects movie. I could just miss that one and just be wrong about it, but I don't think so. Nope. The effects in that one I actually thought were okay. Sometimes they didn't look that great. I don't think that one gets in. And even though Jurassic World made a lot of money, the last couple Jurassic Park films have just not landed here at the Oscars. So I'm going to say no to that one. In the sound category, again, Top Gun is out front here, and generally speaking, that's going to be the way I think it goes. With Avatar in 2nd, All Quiet on the Western Front in 3rd, Everything Everywhere All at Once I have in 4th place, and I have Babylon in 5th. Elvis could easily get in here. I would also look out for Black Panther and for the Batman. And we'll see about Pinocchio. We'll see if Pinocchio can get some more stuff going. Let's move on to the makeup and hairstyling category. Again, I have the whale out front here. Just on, again, it's the whole idea of, you have your big transformational performance and the transformation behind him or her, that pairing up. So that's why I have the whale there. The Batman I have in 2nd, and it's a close 2nd. Especially the work they do on Colin Farrell. That could win. Then again, you look at the stuff like what they did last year in Dune on like Stellan Skarsgård and stuff. It's like, yeah, it would seem on paper to be a pretty easy win, but it didn't win. Elvis I have in 3rd, Babylon in 4th, for fuck's sake, I don't know why. There was like, other than one character, I was like, I didn't really, the makeup wasn't a huge factor in that movie. Well, I guess there's one spot kind of early where Margot Robbie has some makeup put on her, but even then, part of that is a joke. I don't know. So I guess I get that one as, for one scene, but I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to let my own personal taste of this movie and how much I fucking hated it overrule. I'm not trying to kick it out of certain categories just because I didn't personally like it. So I got to try to be not stubborn when it comes to that. Blonde, I have in 5th place. So I don't have Black Panther in here. All Quiet on the Western Front could easily sneak in, especially if that one overperforms on Oscars morning. I can totally see that happening, by the way. And I'm kind of calling for it to overperform in some cases. But again, we'll get there. Let's go to the music categories now. Best Original Song. I'm sticking with Black Panther for now for Original Song, with the Triple R song, Not Two, Not Two, in a close 2nd place. Pinocchio, I think, gets in for Ciao Papa. The Top Gun song, Hold My Hand, in 4th. And you can't sleep on on Tell It Like a Woman, which is from the movie Applause. And that's, her name is totally just skipped my mind. Diane Warren. That's Diane Warren. Like I said, I said I was going to put her in, and I have her in, and I don't think I'm going to move her. So sorry, T Swift, you're missing out again this year. Okay, moving on to Best Original Score. Again, Fabelmans, I feel like, is out front here. Women Talking will also get in. Babylon will get in. Banshees I have in, and Pinocchio I have in. So I dropped Black Panther here in favor of Pinocchio, even though Desplat should have easily made it in for Midnight Sky. He didn't. That being said, though, Pinocchio with the song nomination stuff, I think he's just back on the radar again this year. Yeah, aside from Black Panther in 6th place, I don't really see a ton of like standout ones there that feel like one that could upset and get in. So yeah. In the production design category, I've got Avatar out front for that one. Then Babylon in 2nd, Black Panther in 3rd, The Fabelmans in 4th, and Elvis in 5th. So it's kind of strange, because I feel like, aside from Babylon, which I don't think it splits the vote between these two kind of fantasy sci-fi picks, which is weird, because both of them are sequels, and both of them, having not seen Avatar quite yet, I paid for my ticket to see it Monday. I couldn't sit, 6 hours back-to-back and see, 2 long movies in a row. So I planned to go see Avatar on Monday, but I last second couldn't make it, and I couldn't even get a goddamn refund, which really sucks. So they already have my money, but I haven't seen the movie. So I was going to see it today, but I didn't quite work out this time either. So, but generally it feels like the production design in that one, aside from maybe a couple things with the underwater stuff, it seems like Black Panther, the first one won for its production design, and it feels like we're back in the same places again. So especially Black Panther, again, does have some underwater stuff that's kind of new. I had it out front early, but I'm sensing that one is waning. Yeah, and generally speaking on that one, even though it's made over $400 million here in the U.S., and it's over $800 million worldwide, I feel like the buzz for the film has really died. It kind of, even when it was winning in like that 3rd, 4th weekend here at the U.S. box office into the 5th weekend, I think it was Violent Night opened up against it that 5th weekend, and I was like, that has a shot of winning, but it didn't. Black Panther still won the weekend. I feel like all the excitement was there in the first couple of weeks, and now, not that everybody's forgotten it, but I feel like the buzz has died out. So we'll see, because right now, we'll get to supporting actress, but Angela Bassett, I think, is in trouble if the film is starting to lose buzz. Generally speaking, in some of these tech categories, that's not great if it's starting to lose some buzz. So, yeah, we'll see. Let's see. So I have, let me recap these again. I don't think I got through all 5 of them. Avatar out front, then Babylon, Black Panther, The Fabelmans, and Elvis are my 5 picks here. Having seen Glass Onion now, the production design in that I could actually see sneaking in. Everything Everywhere All at Once, if that one just overperforms like a 1917 did a few years ago, and it just gets into everything, like screenplay was kind of a little bit of a surprise that year, and makeup as well. I was like, what is it doing in these 2 categories? So Everything Everywhere All at Once, you never know, that one could sneak in. Also on All Quiet on the Western Front, speaking of 1917, I had pegged to win, but it didn't win that year for production design. I would say that one's got a shot. Even Pinocchio, I think, has a small shot at getting in here for production design. In the costume design category, Black Panther I feel like is waning, and I'm really split. But right now, for whatever reason, I have Elvis out front. I don't know. It feels like a Best Picture nominee. I don't know if it's going to win anything, but it could be one of those that just feels like it has to win something, so it could win here. Babylon I have in second place, and Babylon, while it's not the flashiest costumes, that one could just end up winning again if they have to give it something. I do have Black Panther in third, then The Fabelmans in fourth, and Everything Everywhere All at Once in fifth. So I dropped The Woman King here, and I feel like that's probably a mistake. But again, like Black Panther, that one, we had known, I think, Woman King was kind of waning, earlier and stuff. It did have a good bounce back there at Critics' Choice when it got in for director and a couple other categories. I feel like it's going to get in for SAG and get 3 nominations there. So it's going to stick around, but it's like when it comes to the Oscars, this one is, for whatever reason, I'm kind of struggling with this one, putting it in. Okay, so that'll leave 2 more tech categories here. Film editing, Top Gun Maverick out front again, Everything Everywhere All at Once at second place, The Fabelmans in third, All Quiet on the Western Front, I'm keeping that one in there at fourth, and I have Avatar in at fifth. Babylon, I think, is going to be really close. Again, technically, very good job on that film for that perspective as well. Elvis could be close. Banshees, I don't think so. Tar is a maybe here. I don't know if it's going to overperform and do that, but we'll see. In the cinematography category, I still have Empire of Light just as a kind of a front-runner placeholder right now, just because it is Roger Deakins. But even then, the fact that it's really not, other than maybe Best Actress, really not angling to get into too many other races, they might just go Janusz Kaminski again for The Fabelmans. That could be a good place to give it something. Babylon I have in third, All Quiet on the Western Front in fourth, and Avatar in fifth. So again, I'm holding out on my Top Gun, not getting into cinematography thing, even though it is again from a past winner, and a lot of the shots are really cool, how they got all the planes and stuff. But again, I feel like he's going to miss at the Cinematographers Guild, and that'll derail the whole thing. I could be dead wrong, but we'll see. Everything Everywhere All at Once is still in play here. Tar is in play here. Even the Batman, I think, is still in play here. And Banshees, I think, also has a small outside shot of getting in. Moving on to the feature categories now. We'll start with Doc Feature. All the Beauty and the Bloodshed I have out front. Fire Love in second place. All That Breathes in third. Navalny? I can't remember if I heard that one pronounced or not. I have that one in fourth, and then I have The Territory in fifth. It seems like either Moon Age, Daydream, or Descent is the fifth place pick for most everyone. I'm going a little off the board there a little bit with The Territory. In the international feature category, again, since we don't have Triple R in this race, All Quiet on the Western Front, I think it's a little easier for it to win here. And again, it might win at the Globes as well, but I might just bounce back and go to Triple R on that one at the Globes. Decision to Leave in second, Close in third, Argentina 1985 in fourth, and Saint Omer in fifth. Really look out for The Quiet Girl here. Really look out for EO, which is about a donkey. So again, we saw the Yak in the Classroom get in here a year or two ago. Bardo is from a 2-time Oscar winner, actually 2-time Best Director winner, I should say. He's gotten at least four Oscars now, and that's Alejandro Iñárritu is behind that one. So I totally would not sleep on that one, by the way. And then in animated feature, again, I think we all know Pinocchio's again out front here. Turning Red, I have in second. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On in third. Puss in Boots in fourth. And My Father's Dragon I have in fifth. So yeah, Strange World, I think I dropped that one a while ago. That one seems, not only box office-wise, but also just buzz-wise, is just not hitting with anybody right now. Okay, moving on to the screenplay races. I still have Women Talking out front, then The Whale, Glass Onion, and She Said, and then my fifth place pick is still Pinocchio for the moment. I'm just not sure what else to go with here. Yeah, here's the thing. Living with Bill Nighy, it seems like he's going to get in, but I don't know how much other appeal that movie's going to have. It's not a threat for Best Picture right now. I don't know how many other Academy voters are watching it. I feel like enough members of the acting branch will watch it, but I don't know about the screenplay branch. I don't know if they're particularly watching that one. I don't think Top Gun is their movie. 1917 did get in for screenplay, which was the rare war movie that did, And again, if it overperforms Oscar Morning, look out for All Quiet on the Western Front to also get in here. White Noise is from screenplay from Noah Baumbach, so I wouldn't totally sleep on that one either. But yeah, for whatever reason, Pinocchio is just my pick there. We'll see. In the original screenplay race, I feel like I've got the consensus 5 here. That's Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Banshees, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. I don't think Babylon gets that 5th place vote. I'm not sensing The Menu. I'm not sensing Empire of Light or Armageddon Time or Nope or Decision to Leave. After Sun, some people have picked as well, because that one got, I believe, a Critics' Choice nomination as well. I'm just not sensing it for that one. All right, we'll move on now to Supporting Actress. My nominees here are Carrie Condon is kind of the front runner now, just because Jessie has missed the Globes, and I feel like also Women Talking, even though again it did better at Critics' Choice, I feel like it'll do okay here at the Oscars. It'll definitely get the nominations it needs, but I don't sense a ton of excitement behind that one. I have both Stephanie Sue and Jamie Lee Curtis getting in for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Carey Mulligan I have getting in for She Said. So I have Angela Bassett out at the moment, Claire Foy I have out, Hong Chow I have out, Janelle Monáe I have out. Yeah, those 4 I think still are in play. So it's really... if Stephanie Sue falls out, we'll see. She could fall out, and because Jamie Lee feels like, yeah, she's going to get in. This will be her first Oscar nomination, by the way. She feels more secure, even though I have her lower on the list, than Stephanie does at this point. Stephanie has only gotten the Critics' Choice nomination so far. Yeah, I just... It feels like one of those things, like a 3 Billboards thing, where it's like, hey, they're watching it. It gets, in generally everywhere we expect, except maybe 1 or 2 small steps here or there. Yeah, so I feel like Everything Everywhere All at Once will... Right now I'm sensing it'll get the double nomination here in this category. Speaking of double nominees, let's go to Supporting Actor. Ke Huy Quan I have out front, and then Brendan Gleeson for Banshees, Paul Dano for The Fabelmans, Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans, and Barry Keoghan for Banshees. So, what was the stat? What was the one? There was a year, I think it was, actually it was not in this category, it was in Supporting Actress. You have to go back to the 40s was the last time this happened, where you had 2 nominees from one film, 2 nominees from another film in the same acting race. And that was that the year of, Angela Lansbury was a nominee, so she was for... Let me think here. Was that Picture of Dorian Gray? Gaslight, maybe? No. Was it not Samson and Delilah, I don't think. Shoot. I thought it was her. Let me see. I'm gonna... I really want to look this up, because it was a really fascinating stat that it hasn't happened in that long. 1944. Would that be it? No, because all 5 nominees were from the same film that year, or from different films that year. I mean, whoa. Maybe it was. No, we're close. I thought it was Angela Lansbury was a nominee, because that year you had 2 nominees from Mildred Pierce both get in, and that was 1945. It wasn't Manchurian Candidate. Okay, so maybe it wasn't Angela Lansbury, but it was around that time period though. Let me do a little more perusing here. I'm going to find it. But I believe, again, it was in Supporting Actress. So, let's see, I probably just missed it by a year here, didn't I? Oh, close. I thought it was this one. 1943 had 2 nominees from The Song of Bernadette get in. But, oh, man. You had 2 nominees for Mrs. Miniver in 42. Boy, I thought... Maybe not. Maybe it was 1940? No, because all 5 of them were from different films that year. Jeez, maybe that stat was wrong then. That doesn't seem right. Gentleman's Agreement. Oh, no. I know what it is now. Pinky. The year of Pinky. That's right. That would be 49. Oh, boy. Took a while. Okay. Come to the Stable. and Pinky both had 2 nominees in the same category. Here we go. I found it. Ladies and gentlemen. I found it. Okay, so you had Ethel Barrymore and Ethel Waters for Pinky. Celeste Holm and Elsa Lanchester both got in for Come to the Stable, but it was Mercedes McCambridge who won, the only nominee from her film in the category for All the King's Men. And wouldn't it be fitting to see Ke Huy Quan win in this one? I feel like Paul Dano, even though I have him in third right now, just the last time I updated this, I feel like that's not accurate. I feel like both of them for The Fabelmans, neither one of them got into the Globes, remember. I feel like they're both kind of vulnerable here, but I don't know if there's any 2 candidates that'll knock them both out. Because I don't, even though I think of the 3 performers in Babylon, I feel like Brad Pitt probably has the best shot at getting in. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe not the best chance to get it. Maybe one of my more likable performances, even though I didn't really love any of the characters in the film. He had some charisma to him for sure. So I can see a few voters. He is now a past winner, and we can't forget that sometimes past winners or past nominees that sometimes feel like they're a good shot early on, but then totally disappear. Sometimes they come back. People like Jonah Hill, people like Laura Dern. In this category, I would still say Woody Harrelson for Triangle of Sadness, especially if that one does end up in the screenplay race and maybe surprises us somewhere else. Is supporting actress? Isn't that the one that got into at the Globes, or was that Decision to Leave? No, it was Triangle of Sadness. Yeah, we'll see. So and Woody Harrelson's a past at least 2-time nominee, 3-time nominee now, I think, with 3 billboards included. Otherwise, Eddie Redmayne got the Globe nomination. I don't see him going all the way to the Oscars right now without some more help, so he would have to get in at SAG and probably both SAG and BAFTA. Ben Whishaw, I don't know if that movie surges, like maybe that one overperforms at BAFTA or something and then gets back on the radar for the Oscars in a big way. Maybe Ben can sneak in. So I don't really think there's enough there for me to say that they both fall out. But I think if one of them gets in, I think Judd Hirsch has the better shot, personally. I don't know. That's just a feeling I have. Okay, we'll move on now to Best Actress. Cate Blanchett out front for Tar, then Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, Danielle Deadwyler still in for Till. And now, having seen the film and the big performance, even though, again, got my reservations, I think Margot Robbie does get that 5th slot for Babylon. It's such a big performance. It's a movie that, it's not going to be for everybody, but I can see the actors still going for it. I can still see him getting her nominated there. So Viola Davis, I think, is very close here, though. Olivia Colman, I think, still has a shot. Ana de Armas possibly still has a shot. And I feel like after that it gets a little tougher. In Best Actor, Brendan Fraser up front for The Whale, then Colin Farrell for Banshees, Austin Butler in third for Elvis, Bill Nighy in fourth for Living. I'm still keeping Hugh Jackman in there in fifth for The Son, but again, that's just because I don't know where else to go in this category. I'm not sensing a huge, spring on by Tom Hanks. He hasn't gotten any traction yet, even though the film is starting to gain, not any momentum, but it's starting to open, I should say. I'm not picking Tom Cruise here. I'm just going to go to my grave and be wrong if he gets in. Paul Mescal, I don't know about After Sun. It would have to get into the screenplay race too, and I don't know if they both get in. Diego Calva for Babylon, I don't think so. No, and even then, they're campaigning him in lead. He kind of feels a little more supporting. And generally it does feel like it's an ensemble piece, though I see why Margot Robbie would be considered lead actress. There's not really any other actresses above her in the film that you can consider a main character. I understand her being in lead, but otherwise I feel like that generally after that it's an ensemble piece. And Robbie, I think, is consistent enough through the film. She's not missing for like a good 20-minute chunk, whereas I think Diego Calva, there is like a 20-minute chunk or so of the film where he's missing. There might be one spot later on, maybe in Babylon, where Margot Robbie's not there. A couple of extended scenes, we'll say, where she's not involved. But otherwise, she's pretty consistent through the movie. Otherwise, again, I'm really struggling to find anybody else here in Best Actor. Let's move on to Best Director. This one, I feel like I'm going against some of the grains here a little bit still. First of all, I have the Daniels as out front for Everything Everywhere All at Once. This feels, again, like Parasite. It feels like a film that can go all the way and have that cool factor to it and really land more wins than we're thinking. So I have that one, then Spielberg, then Todd Field, then Sarah Polley, and I'm still keeping Edward Berger in there for All Quiet on the Western Front. And after the short list was out, we saw All Quiet on the Western Front basically, land the most short lists. I've seen it go up in the odds a little bit here and there on Gold Derby, so I'm like, there you go, you're starting to get smart now, you're starting to get on my level. Of course, I could be dead wrong about this, but we'll see. Martin McDonagh, I just, again, if he had gotten in for Billboards and had lost Best Director, I can see more of an argument for him getting in, and maybe even then I wouldn't put him in, because Banshees, again, it feels like a movie that's going to get into Best Picture fairly easily, but I don't sense a ton of passion behind it. And especially in the director race, sometimes you need that passion. There are, I felt like Three Billboards had a lot of passion, didn't end up in the director's race. I especially felt Jojo Rabbit had a lot of passion, and even though it did land in some different races like film editing, which I thought was like, yes, I just felt that was going to happen. I went against the grain. It was not a long shot, but it was a fairly long shot. It got in for editing. But it didn't land director. And I feel like there's one other example I'm trying to think of, but it's not coming to mind right now. So that one. James Cameron, I also do not have in, and it's a weird one. It's kind of actually like Chicago 7, Trial of Chicago 7 a couple of years ago, because that one got into editing and cinematography, but missed director. I also have Avatar into editing, cinematography, but not director. Yeah. And I think outside of like The Godfather and some of those, and Lord of the Rings, it's just really tough for those sequels to get like director nominations. And particularly when you go to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Two Towers, Peter Jackson didn't get in the second time around. He did the third time, and he won that year for Return of the King. But Two Towers, and that was a really tough year at the Oscars, by the way. That was like Chicago. That was about Schmidt. That was adaptation. There was, that was a really spoiled year for film nominees and stuff that year. There was a lot of good choices out there that year. So it makes sense that New York, Gangs of New York was also out that year. It was again a spoil of riches that year for Oscar content. So it makes sense that something like Two Towers can still land a Best Picture nomination, but maybe struggles in some of the other categories. Let's see, who else is got a shot here? Baz Luhrmann, I don't think we can totally sleep on. He's got, the 2 nominations so far with the Globes and Critics' Choice, even though, again, there was 10 nominees at Critics' Choice. Otherwise, if Triangle of Sadness, again, has a kind of late spur, Ruben Östlund, look at him as a possible nominee there. I know, we always have that one either European or Asian-based director get in. Again, I'm waiting on that BAFTA shortlist. That's really going to point us in the right direction. Okay, and I feel like from the last time we talked here, I feel like I've got the same 10 for Best Picture here. That's Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Banshees of Inisherin, Women Talking, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Elvis, Avatar: The Way of Water, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Babylon. So outside of All Quiet on the Western Front, I think that's the top 10 here at Gold Derby at least. They do have Glass Onion and The Woman King above it. All Quiet on the Western Front was a 100-1 shot at one point. Now it's 58-1. So it's gaining in some odds there at least. Some more people are picking it. Triple R did land a nomination at Critics' Choice. Glass Onion landed a nomination at Critics' Choice and at the Globes for Comedy Musical. So I wouldn't sleep on those. Woman King, I feel like, is a little bit more of a distant possibility there. Triangle of Sadness, maybe. It does have to come through in maybe a couple acting races on top of screenplay, and it would, director would almost, I won't say almost has to be, but yeah, a director nomination would really help that one. Yeah, and then after that, I think it gets kind of in the weeds there. So there you go. There's your updated list for Oscar nomination predictions. By the way, I did do a count last time, and I've got a new count now. So right now, at the moment, from everything I have in here, The Fabelmans actually does have a 1-up on Everything Everywhere All at Once. If one of the supporting actors falls out, then you have a 10-10 tie. But Everything Everywhere All at Once, I have at 10 nominations. Then the next one would be Babylon with 8, and then All Quiet on the Western Front and Banshees would both tie with 7. I have Avatar in 6 categories. I have Women Talking, Top Gun, and is it just those two? In 5 categories. And then for 4 categories each, I have Elvis, Pinocchio, and Black Panther. In 3 categories, I have The Whale, or Tar. Tar also has 4. I don't think I named that one. So it'd be with 4 nominations each: Tar, Elvis, Pinocchio, and Black Panther. With 3 nominations each, I have The Whale, and I think that's it. And then for 2 nominations, I have She Said, and I think that's it. I just I don't know. It feels like I don't know. I think we're going to see a few here and there single nominated films, and then other films that do okay, and then they end up with kind of those mid level number of nominations, mid single digits, like the 5, 6, 7 range. Yep, so that's what I have for now. So again, we'll be back here for sure Tuesday after the Globes are over. For sure. If I have a little bit of time and I do make some switches, I will do a video. If I don't have time to do a video, I'm going to just stick with my guns because I don't cheat like that. I don't say something in a video, come back afterwards and say, "Nah, I picked the winner." Nah. Yeah, I don't do that. I stick with my integrity as much as I have at the moment, at least. So, so that's all I have for now. So we'll for sure be back after Globes are over. Otherwise I think with SAG, I think we've kind of maybe not beat that one to death, but I feel like I'm confident in my picks there. If you want to go back to that video to refresh, then I haven't switched anything. So, all right, that's it for me.